Hey, good morning. It's another fine, glorious, beautiful, sunny, going to be hot day here in eastern North Carolina. It's been cooling off due to the hurricane and then fall temperatures starting to slide in. But today it's going to be 80. Woo! Tomorrow will be like 71. Crazy. But there are changes coming to the veg garden. Big changes. All sorts of changes. And I want to talk about a few of them today because I'm not going to really do much work out in the heat, because I've been getting used to the cooler temperatures. So 80 today will just be like an inferno for me. So let's talk about some of those changes that are coming to the veg garden. And of course, I got an awesome present, if you hadn't guessed by the title of this video. So we'll talk about that in a minute. With the cooler temperatures coming in, I think it's pretty safe to start planting in our radishes here. I planted these a few days ago. In fact, I believe you could see a few right there already popping up. I overseeded this area, and I believe I did a video on that because I didn't know what was going to germinate and not germinate. That's what's going on with this bed. Over here, in this bed here, I have green beans. These are Bush Lake 47. Is it Blue Lake? I always say Bush Lake. I don't know why. Blue Lake 47 beans. I don't know if I'm going to get any beans before the frost. I'm seeing less and less pollinators floating around nowadays, i.e. bees and some other flying critters. I do have a few sunflowers here. Yeah, looks like they're decimated, but there are a few buds, like that one there, bug right there. Got some buds down here. And then of course you have some smaller ones there. I don't know if any of these will actually pop up in the next few weeks, but we'll see. Let them run till frost. Then I might take all of this out and plant up garlic. I do have a bunch of garlic on the way. Over here, this is one of the beds that my wife has. They've been doing pretty well. She's been growing these, I believe they're called ground cherry tomatoes or something along those lines, ground cherries. She's been eating them. She likes them. She'll probably want to plant more of them again next year. She does have some sort of squash meandering up and around and over here, all along the fence. Not quite sure what that is, but it's doing a thing. In this bed over here, she had a bunch of flowers. Obviously, nothing there now. Again, we had a deer incident. Deer's got into the veg garden, but her birdhouse gourd is just, it's doing amazing. As you can see, it's going along the fence here, and there's quite a few. I don't know if you can see, there's a couple of small ones there. There is a big one around here someplace. Oh, I saw a bit. Oh, there's. I don't know if you can see that. I got a lot of leaves here. Big one right there. Big birdhouse gourd. And the whole point of her growing these is not to eat them, but to make birdhouses out of them. Hence the reason called birdhouse gourd. So once these are done, whenever that may be, probably the first frost, those birdhouse gourds will hang in the garage. It takes about a year for them to dry out, and then once they're dried, you can turn around and drill them out and empty out the innards, because the innards will just be flopping around in there, I guess. I saw a video on it a while back on YouTube, but if you want, search birdhouse gourd, birdhouses, and you can see what is going on there. Let's look at the next two beds. Her bed, kind of a total disaster this year. Gonna wind up redoing that. In this bed here, I have spinach growing. Now this is my second batch of spinach because the first batch died out due to the heat. But again, we're getting cooler temperatures, except for today. So hopefully, if I keep them watered, they'll give me some nice crop of spinach for the winter. Now all of these beds here, this is my main section right here, or was my main section until I started getting a lot of beds behind the camera here, the Birdies raised metal beds. All this is going to undergo a change in the next few months. Not only is obviously whatever crops that are in there are being harvested and growing, and I planted some new stuff. I have some cabbage, I have some carrots, there's another bed of carrots. Some of the beds will be used for growing garlic. And then others I think I'll just leave to rest over the winter. But yes, changes are coming, even to this section. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified of when I do post up a new video. And then you can decide whether you want to watch it or not. And, you know, see hopefully the video where I do those changes. It'll probably be 2 or 3 or 4 videos, but changes are coming. Stay tuned. This area here will probably undergo the most change in the veg garden because, well, honestly, the whole row idea was nice, but the grass here is just so voracious and it's a pain in the neck mowing back and forth and all around, and the grass here tends to get pretty thick here. And my push mower, especially if I don't mow in a few weeks, that push mower has a hard time going through the grass. It's a pain in the neck, and I hate mowing grass. So what's going to happen is that the current bed layouts aren't quite centered with the greenhouse. So I'm going to, let me step over here. Hopefully I'm still in frame. So this bed here will essentially disappear. I'm going to let it get overgrown with grass, but from this point back to the fence and all the way down along the fence, it's going to be open ground. It's just, you know, there's what I may wind up doing is putting some pavers to step on, but it's just going to be one big planting field, as it were. Because again, I hate going up and down the rows and in between. The idea was nice, but it's just not in reality going to work. It'd be much easier, I think, to, and it's my thought, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but it's going to be much easier to turn around and just mow or edge along two sides as opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get the point. The watermelons, they're pretty much done. There's a couple of baby ones here, but they're never going to grow to full size or maturity before the frost, so I'll be ripping all of them out soon. My wife does have some, I believe these are zinnias over here. So the zinnias will stay probably again until frost, and then they'll all come up. Now what I'm going to do is, if you remember way back when I made these beds, I just put cardboard right down on top of the grass, and then I put the compost on top of that. And of course, this year I added more compost on top of them to refresh the beds and make everything wonderful. If I dug down right now, you'd never find any cardboard because it all just rots away. The reason I did that and not rototill is because there's good stuff in the ground. Rototilling is bad, disturbs a lot of that. And the other thing is rototilling is time, money, and expense, and a lot of hard work. Probably more hard work than it was for me to do what I did. So going into the future, how am I going to handle all this space for next year? Well, quite simply, I'm going to take black weed fabric and I'm going to lay it down on the ground, and I'm going to let that sit all winter long. That should kill off most of the grass. Then probably what I'll do is do the same thing as I did in prior years over the grass section here. I'll turn around, put down the cardboard, I'll put the compost on top of it. The bed in front of you there, I may even take some of that compost, and I'll just, again, because it's kind of a little higher than the rest of the ground, and I want that to be lawn, so I'll just move that over, you know, level it out, as it were, and let the grass do its thing. Back here, again, I'll do the cardboard and compost, and same thing over there. It's a lot of space to do this in, but this is the running game plan I've got going now, and I think that will allow me to do is now keep the raised beds for things like, you know, again, smaller items, but I can do pumpkins and watermelons, and maybe even, and my wife can do some squashes in this open area here, as well as corn, because I didn't grow corn this year because it was just too late. So, but I'll plant corn early next year, I believe, I hope, and that will then, again, grow in this area. So I'll have corn and pumpkins and watermelons and all sorts of stuff. And again, I'll probably do, I'm thinking right now, and this is again all up in the air, but maybe just a 12 by 12 paving stone. You can get those at Lowe's for a few dollars, but do that all around the edge. And again, this will help me keep a more defined edge and keep the grass out of the area, because the grass will grow back into the area. It grows fast down here, especially in the summertime with the heat and the moisture. I'll do that, and then maybe just some walkways with the paving stones. I don't know. I'm definitely going to be changing this area up. These are some of my thoughts. I'm pretty excited about it. Let me talk about a couple other things. Of course, this year I moved the potting bench that I built over to this section next to the greenhouse, and the reason being was because I just seemed to be in the veg garden and using the veg garden as a launching point for a lot of the rest of the garden. So having it behind the garage, in a sense, really it was sort of inconvenient. And if I did some potting there and it needed to come in the veg garden or into the greenhouse, I'd have to walk up. It's a pain in the neck. Nicer to do it here, and then just I can access the greenhouse or access another part of the garden if I need to. Most of the year I had the shade cloth up, and because it was hot, and I created myself a little canopy, and that actually helped a lot of plants and a lot of things here. We had the Hurricane Ian a week ago, and everything was fine. We just got 7.5 inches of rain. We got like sometimes up to 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds. It was not the apocalypse as Florida had. So thankfully, knock on wood, we were A-okay. I took down the shade cloth so it wouldn't get blown off or blown away. Again, today's gonna be really hot, so the inside of the greenhouse is getting stupid hot. But after that, the temperature is going to be, again, sliding back down. So I feel pretty confident and pretty good about leaving the shade cloth off of the greenhouse. Again, more stuff will be going on with the greenhouse this winter. I would like to turn around and grow stuff inside the greenhouse, and that's going to be coming up. I saw on Roots and Refuge, it's a homesteading channel. What is her name? I'm drawing a blank. I've been watching her for years now, and I can't remember the woman's name, but her husband's Mia. Oh, her name's Jess. Wow, I'm getting senile. She, a few years back, turned around and took a bag of soil, cut the top off, and planted lettuce in there, and it grew throughout the winter, which was pretty neat. I think I want to try the same type of experiment. The potting benches are going to be pretty much empty until the springtime, so I'll have space for that. The greenhouse right now is a bit of a disaster, and I will be doing a greenhouse cleanup video probably in a few weeks, maybe a month or so. So again, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, so this way when I do the greenhouse cleanup video, you get to see that. I'm also looking at getting shelving for the inside of the greenhouse. If you guys have any sort of suggestions, I'm looking for something tall that's no wider than 4 feet, that I can put a lot of stuff on, supplies, pots, etc. Again, if you guys have any suggestions, leave those comments below. I have something in mind, but again, maybe somebody out there has got something better in mind, maybe something a bit decorative. I'm open to suggestions. Please leave those comments below. But so far as the rest of back here, obviously we have our supplies here. My wife is toying with the idea of maybe getting chickens, so maybe we'll put a coop back here, but I'm also thinking about maybe in this back corner putting a shed. Now I know I did say in a prior video I was thinking about putting a crepe myrtle, but plans change, so maybe a small potting, not a potting shed, but a small tool shed next to maybe a small chicken coop. I don't know. Playing with some ideas. I've actually found some interesting stuff online in regards to that. These wood chips, they will be disappearing very soon, and I will get to that in a minute. So there'll be a lot of open space back here. But right now I'm thinking behind the greenhouse will just be a dump area for wheelbarrows, carts, that kind of thing. Now, finally, I know I've been babbling on a lot and I do apologize, but let me show you the best birthday present ever. Okay, hold on. Oh boy, it's coming, it's coming. Hold on, here we go. So here it is, the best birthday present ever. Now in a few weeks' time, I get 1 year older, and I turn the big 50. God, that's old. And I'll talk more about that on or near that date. But my wife turned around and purchased me 4 Birdies raised beds. This is the 8-in-1, so it's the ones that the big long ones that you've already seen in the vegetable garden. So you can get these beds over at Shop Epic Gardening or Epic Gardening Shop. I'm not 100% sure, and I didn't do my homework before filming this segment. So thing on the screen, and also you'll be able to find the link below. This video is not sponsored at all by Epic Gardening. He is one of 2 places in the United States where you can get these Birdies raised beds. If you're in the UK, I believe he made an announcement recently that he's going to be selling the Birdies raised beds in the UK. Also, if you want, go check out Self-Sufficient Me. That gentleman has a lot of Birdies beds. He has tried other beds to little or no avail. He did a whole review on that, I believe, last year. So again, Self-Sufficient Me. Again, I'll put the link here on the screen someplace. Check him out. I can't remember his name either. Woo! Getting senile. I can't remember names. Must be the heat cooking my brain. I've used these Birdie beds for now a year. I love them. Self-Sufficient Me has used them for like 20 years. They've been around for a while. So again, this video isn't sponsored by Epic Gardening, but I thought I'd give them a shout because he is one of the other place that does carry the Birdies beds, but not, I don't believe, as large of an assortment as Epic Gardening, is Gardener Supply. They also have some Birdie beds. Again, I don't believe they carry as a large selection as Epic Gardening. Again, you can go check out both those sites if you want to. Neither one of them are sponsoring this video, but they both do carry this product, and I do really enjoy this product, and I'm looking forward to having this product for the next 20 plus years. All that being said, where are they going to go in the veg garden? Let's talk about that. So, if you've been paying attention, Next to the greenhouse here, I have one, I have two, and then there's something missing back here. Bed's missing. So one bed is going to go here. The one bed will go here. I will trim back that wax myrtle. There'll be a walk space between the bed and the wax myrtle, and this way it will basically come even with this one over here. Again, once I start doing all this, the one thing I keep meaning to do, but I don't do it as often as I probably should, is do some aerial drone shots, because people appreciate that. It also gives them a sense of how things are laid out. So once I start popping the beds in, I will try to do that. I will actually try to do that before the winter time. So sometime this fall, I will definitely try. If I don't do it, please leave a comment below reminding me to do it and stop being lazy. Let's talk about the other beds. I had to seek a little bit of shade here in the loofah, or next to the loofah. That sun is always something here. Now, I did mention about bringing the in-ground beds all the way across to the corner, which I still may do, but my wife was thinking maybe I could put the other 3 there, because I'm going to have 4, and I'm going to use one in that one row, so I have 3. So that is a possibility. I'm not sure I want to do that, though. So again, let me know what you guys think. Should I put 3 beds there in the corner and then replace the 8 wood beds with 8 more Birdies beds? That's a lot of Birdies beds. Or should I start replacing these in-ground beds with the Birdies beds, which is what I was thinking. Now, this one right here I made last year out of cedar wood, some deck screws. It's nothing fancy, but it is, I think, starting to rot a little quicker than I thought it was going to. Again, North Carolina heat, humidity, yeah, it just tends to beat the wood up quite a bit. So I was thinking this bed here, it has a chunk missing, and that's just kind of the way the wood came, and there's some splitting already and cracking in the wood. So I was thinking of replacing this bed first with one of those 3 remaining raised beds. And all the soil from here, I would just simply transfer over to this bed, which those marigolds and are they marigolds? Yeah, those marigolds and tomato plants, whatever, they'll be gone soon. But I can just transfer the compost over once the new bed is built and filled with wood mulch, tree stumps, logs, whatever. Then I would just transfer back and add to as necessary. The other bed I was considering replacing is, I think, this one right here. There's stuff growing in it right now. There's carrots right here, and there's nothing on this side. But this was a heat-treated bed that Green's Gardening Supply makes. I bought it on Amazon. They're good beds, don't get me wrong, but again, the heat and humidity down here just beating up these the wood, and it's a pretty thin wood. The reason I got the heat treated is because at the time, in 2021, I couldn't get the cedar. I got a couple of cedar, but I couldn't get enough cedar. And again, it's because there were supply shortages, and you know, all that's, we know where all that stemmed from. There's a few other beds in here that I bought on Etsy. They're made of thicker cedar, so they hold up better. They have been holding up better. Maybe they're also a better quality of cedar. So I may keep them in the garden for a while longer too. I mean, that just still kind of leaves me space for 2 or at least 1 more raised bed. I don't know where I would put another one. So there you go. I just don't know where to maybe put that one remaining. If I take up the one cracked raised bed and maybe replace another one, kind of up in the air about that. I really don't know. But I've got like the whole winter to think about it, and I definitely will have them in place for the spring. In place, filled, and ready to go in time for the spring, because then I can put, oh my God, I can only imagine growing potatoes in them. How awesome would it be not to be bending over trying to pull potatoes out of the ground, or crawling around my hands and knees trying to pull potatoes out of the ground? That would be awesome. So yeah, they will definitely get done by the springtime, so that I then have those options. Now, if I do start replacing the 8 beds, that then leaves me with 5 more beds to get replaced, which I may wind up buying from Epic Gardening down the road. If I do start expanding the raised beds over in the corner, the opposite corner, then I still have 8 beds to replace over here. And if I put 3 over there, well, 3 is an odd number, and I don't like odd numbers, so I have to get another one. So that's 9 beds that I'm looking at in the future, maybe. Yeah, so there's changes coming to the veg garden. There's lots of options and things happening here. I kind of knew I was going to get one Birdie's raised bed for my birthday, because my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and that was the only thing I told her. And I would, if I got one, I'd be absolutely thrilled. But my wife got me 4. 4. That is just amazing and astounding and awesome. I was actually choked up, because now I can continue following along with my plans and my goals, and she's been enjoying the Birdies raised beds, because I bought her 2 earlier this year, and she's been gardening in them. And I just think the more beds, the better, because again, then we can grow more things. Again, the veg garden is going to undergo changes. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video, so you can follow along with these changes and you can see what's happening. Again, my name is Jason. I'm growing a garden here on 1.5 acres in growing zone 8A. It involves a veg garden, flower garden, there's dahlias, there's a rose garden, believe it or not, and it's doing really well. I'll be doing an update video on that, I think, soon, so I can show you guys some of the roses that are happening over in there, and what I'm doing to keep those roses alive in deer country. And there's so much more happening. There's so much more going on. There's an orchard, actually, too. How could I forget the orchard? Probably because it's small right now, but the trees will get bigger. So that's going to wrap it up for today. If you have any questions, comments, etc., please leave them below. If you don't follow me on Instagram, give a follow over on Instagram. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links below. Get yourself a t-shirt, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.